Okay, great. So I'm going to kick off this afternoon's webinar. Welcome everyone. And yeah, today we will be talking about the Contractor's Guide to BIM 360. And during this presentation, we will be looking at some features and functions of BIM 360 that contractors should be familiar with. We will also show you how drawings can be reviewed and issued digitally. We will show you some more of BIM 360's capabilities in terms of RFIs and also approval processes, and also how to digitize the way that you do quality, safety, and snagging checklists. So just hosting you this afternoon is myself, Anin Nota, and I'm also joined by my colleague, Nuran Ibrahim, and we are both BIM specialists here at Baker Bones, where Nuran serves the Western Cape, and I'm based in Gauteng. Now, we both actually come from a building industry background, where I worked as a professional architect and Nuran worked as a structural engineer. Just having a quick look at our agenda for today, I'm going to briefly give you an introduction of Baker Bones. That is just who we are, what we do, and then we will briefly look at some current construction software problems. We will then head over to BIM 360. We will look at an overview of the BIM 360 platform and also the various entitlements. Okay, and then we will also focus on BIM 360 docs and build more specifically during this session. And at the end, we will also allow for some questions, should there be any. Okay, now who is Baker Bones? Not only are we an Autodesk reseller, but we are also a consulting company set to solve our customers' problems through digital transformation. And this is essentially how we want to help you design and make a better world. Just want to go one back. Now, in terms of our service offerings, it includes business process improvement consulting services, survey and design hardware and consulting, design software consulting, as well as a blended learning approach, which is how we believe our customers can or should digest information. Okay, and this is just a breakdown of the various industries that we serve. It ranges from build, civil engineer, energy, to manufacturing, and also the process plant. Okay, looking at our unique consulting approach, it is called the Adopt, and this is how we ensure a successful digital transformation and also the adoption of the technology and processes across the various industries that we serve. Now, this Adopt consulting methodology of ours is actually a holistic process, and it stretches well beyond just the CAD environment, and our ultimate focus is on solving problems. Now going into our presentation, just looking at some common issues within construction software today. Unclear communication between teams, missing project information, a lack of version control, and also a disorganized issue tracking and resolution. Now, with all of this, it results in less accurate work, contractors working off of outdated plans, more RFIs, a lot of rework, and claims because of this, and essentially valuable time being wasted. If we now have to ask what is the solution for this, the answer would be BIM 360, and especially the BIM 360 build package, which we will be getting to later on in this webinar. If we jump back to BIM 360 as a whole, let's just have a quick overview of it. Now, recently, BIM 360 has undergone a complete re-engineering to support the integration and automation of workflows. So it's actually moving away from the standalone applications towards a unified solution that supports a centralized collection and use of data, which is actually also known as a single data repository. Now, when we consider BIM 360 in general, and also the value of it to project teams, there's often a misperception that it's only beneficial for CAD users. However, contractors and project managers can also find great value from it, as it improves the process of construction by supporting informed decision-making throughout the entire project lifecycle. If we have a look at the BIM 360 platform, we can see here a breakdown of the various workflow that happens within BIM 360. Now, design, clash detection, 2D and 3D viewing, planning, etc. These are examples of it. And with all of these, we can see that they are an underlying collection of project data in order to help give better analytics and also insights on projects. In addition, BIM 360 is also built on the Autodesk Forge platform, and this allows for an open API and integrations with other construction software solutions, essentially so that all of your project information can be centralized. Now, just looking at the various BIM 360 products within this new generation platform, BIM 360 Docs is the foundation and actually the starting point for all work managed within BIM 360. Okay, so it's the place to centralize, control, and give access to project information to all team members. If we look at BIM 360 design, in basic terms, it is for Revit Cloud work sharing, and multidisciplinary design firms can use this to collaborate and coordinate deliverables with. If we look at BIM 360 Coordinate, it allows teams to coordinate multidisciplinary models and also automate tasks such as module aggregation, as well as clash detection. And then lastly, if we look at BIM 360 Build, it provides teams with the ability to manage meeting minutes, RFIs, and submittals, as well as execute quality and safety management programs during construction. Okay, so today we will be focusing on BIM 360 Docs as well as Build. Okay, and so with this, I would like to hand you over to my colleague to run us through BIM 360 Docs. I'm just waiting for us to quickly just change our or share our screens.
Thanks,
there
Anine.
We go. Thanks, Naran.
I am just go. Okay, please let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Anine, for the introduction. I think we can all relate to some of the pain points in the industry, so let's look at how BIM Docs can be used to address some of these issues. This is a summary of the features of BIM Docs. On this platform, members of a project can publish their drawings to the rest of the project team. And here they would be able to view or download the drawings and then also make some markups and create issues in the event of a clash or a query. The owner of the drawing would then be notified and coordination can be initiated. Both 2D and 3D files can be uploaded and markups and issues can be made on either of the two. And because of the embedded data functionality of BIM Docs, you would be able to then see the 3D model as well as its properties that are in Revit without actually having the Revit application on your device. And then, so this is what makes it possible to view the models and all other file types on your mobile device. Docs also allows for easy version control, but above all these features facilitate effective document control, and that ultimately improves quality and performance. And I'm sure that everyone can agree that improving quality and performance is an ongoing endeavor. So next, let's look at how this is done through document management in BIM 360 Docs. This is a snip of the BIM Docs document management page. On the top, you'll see 4 different tabs, which categorizes the various capabilities. The first one being the folders tab. On the left, you'll see a typical folder structure of a sample project that we created. This folder structure also follows the ISO guidelines, but it is fully customizable and it can be edited throughout the project. On the right, you'll see where files are uploaded, and you can also see various information regarding the upload that is recorded here. All the project members who have access to this folder can view the documents here, and they can either view it just in this window or they can download it if they want to have a record somewhere else. This, for example, is the architects folder, and all the latest drawings and all the latest information would then live in this folder. So as the contractor, if you wanted to view something in the model, you would, for example, click this file that's highlighted over here. And once you click on it, this is what you'll be able to see in either your internet browser on your desktop or on an app on your mobile phone. And in these views, you are able to use functions such as zoom, walkthroughs, pan, orbit. You can cut sections, you can measure, or you can view object properties in the model as well. And the same can be done with a 2D plan drawing. And as you navigate the plan, there's also a nice mini map at the top left corner to help you orientate yourself as you zoom through the different parts of a building. Talking about the marking up feature, so while you're viewing these drawings, you can then create markups, and this can be done on either a 2D or a 3D view. This can then be shared with the owner of the drawing, and coordination or review can then be initiated immediately. So let's say, for example, at the time of ordering the doors, the contractor picks up that the opening size allowed for on the structural or engineering drawings doesn't match the door on the schedule. You can then highlight the specific instance in the model, make a note, and then share it with the structural engineer or the architect, and they would then have the opportunity to provide clarity on how to proceed. So as you can see, the marking up tools are fairly easy to use, and once again, this can be done on either desktop or using a smartphone. Another nice viewing feature is being able to highlight certain elements in a model by toggling between different elements or even like specific column sizes. This is particularly useful for construction teams to visualize the project as a whole, and it can also make things easier for the team for communication and planning. You can even highlight certain elements and then view its properties. So this is quite nice because you don't have to then flip through stacks of drawings or schedules or search through information to see something specific, because everything is stored in there. Okay. Another feature is that you can also view and edit files online. So this is done straight from your browser. So for example, in this folder, there is an Excel sheet that is highlighted in the clients folder. And once you select the file, the Excel sheet becomes editable in the browser. You can then go ahead and you can make your changes. It will save automatically. And then when you return to the folders tab in Docs, you'll see that the document is then the latest document, or the updated document is then saved over there. And then you'll also see that the document has been revised. The version number was incremented from 3 to 4. All Microsoft Office file types are supported on BIM 360 Docs in this way. This is nice because you don't have to download a file, edit it, and then upload it again. With this feature, In particular, you might want to control who is able to edit a document, and this is done by the project admin. So the project admin would set viewing and editing permissions to the relative party team members. Another nice thing is that co-authoring is also enabled, so multiple project members can edit a document at the same time. And then just to expand on the version control function, in the previous slide, you saw that the version control was done in an Excel file, but it is capable for all types of files. So in this case, you see a DWG. BIM 360 allows for easy and automated version incrementing. It is common practice to write the date or the revision number at the end of a document, but with this automatic version control, it's not necessary. So files only need to retain the name so that Docs recognizes that this is the same drawing and only a revision is being updated. Documents can be uploaded by navigating to the file or simply by drag and drop, as you've just seen. And you should also note that BIM Docs starts at version 1, which in construction terms would be revision 0. So that's the upload. You can also drag and drop. And then here you can see that the version number incremented automatically with the upload. So in the document management page, only the latest file is available, but all the versions are still accessible because Docs maintains a version history which shows each of the previous versions that were uploaded. This can still be downloaded, but it will always be clear which is the current and the latest version. As a project goes along, hundreds of drawings and other documents will be uploaded to the server. Docs makes it easy with its search functionality, where you can search for documents by file name, by number, title, or even custom attributes that would be useful for a particular project. You can also search by file extensions or the contents of a PDF. Searches can be done in either full or partial text, and this can save you a lot of time. Using quotation marks allows you to search for the exact document name that you're looking for. This might seem like a basic feature, but it is quite handy considering that a typical knowledge worker spends about 2.5 hours a day searching for information, which is according to a study done by the IDC on the high cost of not finding information. I'm sure everyone can relate to that. The next feature in Docs is the review and approval process. So here you can see a list of documents that was submitted by Anin for approval. And you can see on the left that it shows the status. So while it is open, it means that it still needs to be approved. And when it's closed, it means that the approver has accepted. You can see on the right, it shows a summary of the number of documents that were submitted and also the number of documents that were approved and the number that was rejected. So the reviews and approval workflows are set up by the project admin, who will then allow certain team members to be able to submit a document for review and then allow the responsible team member to approve it. So for example, a one-step approval workflow can be set up to allow the contractor to submit concrete crushing results to the structural engineer for approval. The setup will look something like this. Where you can see who requested the review, you can see who is responsible for approving it, and the amount of time given for this approval to be submitted, and then the various statuses that the approver can deem the concrete results in this case. So once the approver selects the status, in this case, all the results are approved. So you would then tick the the approved button, and then it creates a summary of all the documents and the statuses. And on the top left, you'll see that it is marked as closed since the process is complete. And on the right, you can see a record of the process and who submitted it, what time, and some comments there, and at what time it was approved and by whom. The previous example was a one-step approval process, but a approval process can be set up with up to 6 different steps, meaning you can have 6 different people approve a particular review. A multi-step approval is typical for coordination. So, for example, if a contractor needed to make a few calls at various locations after concrete has been cast, he could then mark out the core locations and then send it to the architect and the affected engineers for approval. Then once all the consultants are happy, they will then approve this, and the review will be closed, and then the contractor can proceed with the coding. Another nice feature is the transmittals, which is a formal way of sending drawings or models or other documents to another project team member. So you would then assign who you want to send this document to. You set view permissions to restrict access if need be, and you can also then add a message or a note. This is basically the equivalent of issuing something by email. So once you've done that, the recipient would then receive an email that looks something like this, with a link that takes you straight to the document that was uploaded. And on this page, you will then see a summary of all the transmittals that were sent. You can see who sent it, you can see who received it, and there's also a timestamp and a summary of the number of documents in each transmittal. And then on the last tab is the Issues tab. So creating issues is quite useful on this platform. It can be done in 2D or 3D. You can then, after creating issues, you can then also export it to a log. You can filter the issues, and you can also assign and track the status of completion. So how it typically looks is like if you're reviewing a question and there's a drawing and there's a question or a problem that you see on a drawing, you can then just do it easily by dropping a pin, giving it a name, assigning the issue to the responsible person, who then will get a notification that is an issue. That person will then go straight, when they click on the link, they go straight to this drawing and they can see where the problem is, review the notes, and then attend to it in the time frame that was given. So this is a summary of all the issues that were created on this particular project. In this case, there's only 2, but I'm sure there will be more in your real life projects. But yeah, this is a nice summary that you can go through and see if they have been attended to or not. And then lastly, I would just like to iterate the power of BIM docs, not only because of all of the features mentioned, but also because you can have access to all of this via a mobile device. Just because access to information is so important, maybe even the most important aspect of managing a project, especially to ensure that the people who need the information can consume it easily and in the format that they are most comfortable with. And with that, Anine, I will hand over to you to talk about BIM 360 Build, moving on to the construction phase.
Thanks, Nuran. That was also very insightful. I just quickly want to take or start sharing my screen again. Okay, just a second. I just want to see. Good. And Nuran, can you maybe just confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Okay, so as your project moves to the construction site, teams can work in BIM 360 Build, which is BIM 360's next generation field management solution. Now, within Build, like with Docs, you once again have your specific modules, such as fields, project, and document management. And within all of these are various tools or processes with which teams are able to work easily and also share project information. Okay, so they can also use it to track all RFIs and submittals, manage any project issues, complete daily reporting, oversee job site safety, and also create customized checklists. Now, this is just a quick summary of the various key workflows as per the previous slide, and these take place leading up to and during the construction execution processes. Again, we will be having a look at these next. So starting with the project management module, within the project management module, there's an option to add RFIs. Now you can create RFIs and you can also track their process. Okay, so if we look at the RFI log, we can see things like the status of it, who it was assigned to, the due date, the location on drawings, etc. And you also have a filtering option with which you can sort columns by statuses. Now, we all know that RFIs can be a time-consuming and sometimes frustrating contractual check and balance between the contractor and the design team, and that each of these communications has to follow a prescribed path for review and approval. Now, every contractor also has their own defined process and often a set of software applications to help them manage these workflows. So as a way to streamline the communication between teams and also promote coordination and issue resolution while still aligning it with common contractual procedures, BIM 360 Build has RFI workflows, which we will look at next. And with these RFI workflows, teams can designate responsibilities for each step and also coordinate responses from the design team. So, for example, the RFI workflow can be set up to allow any project member to initiate an RFI and then submit it to the manager, which is typically the general contractor. And then the manager can assess the RFI and assign a primary reviewer, for example, the architect, and also maybe add some additional co-reviewers, thus creating a clear response structure for the RFI. Okay, so apart from creating your RFIs from the RFI log tab, which is this over here, we can also do it from 2D drawings or 3D models. So this is just a quick demonstration of how you can go onto a drawing itself and create an RFI from there. And you can then also specify the various details, assign it to a specific reviewer. You can also add questions should you want, and maybe attachments if you have any, and then give it a priority. You can also add a distribution list if you want. Now, once that has been done, if you go back to your RFI log, you can see the various RFIs that has been added. And for instance, this one, we can see the status of it shows as closed. Okay, now also note that you are able to create issues from RFIs as well, which is really also a very valuable tool. Now, looking at submittals, BIM 360 Build allows users to efficiently create, coordinate, and manage all submittals within a single document library. Now, users are also allowed the flexibility to create items within the submittal log. They can add items to a submittal package, they can submit items, and they can also collaborate within the activity section. Like with RFIs, there's also a review and approve process for items, and it can be assigned to team members either by individuals, roles, or companies. And documents can also be easily attached. The submittal data can then easily be viewed and also accessed on a mobile phone should it need to be accessed, for instance, in the field. Okay, so here we can once again see that you can add a distribution list and track the status of your submittal. Okay, then there's also a submittals workflow, and with this, project administrators can manage and coordinate responses to the submittals within the project team. Okay, so the project administrator can also define the submittals managers and responsible contractors for the project. Looking at one last nice feature within the project management module is the fact that you can do your meeting minutes within it. So no more hunting for lost meeting minutes or questioning accountability or running the risk of unanswerable claims. This tool really makes meeting management effortless and also allows for transparency into commitments made and also provides an organized history of all your meeting records. Now, you can also create agendas for upcoming meetings. You can also add invitees and also add or attach documents, drawings, and models to your meeting records or items. Also, a nice or a valuable functionality is that you can add issues to the agenda as well, should you want. So we can see here that you can tick various items or responses on your agenda or your meeting. Yeah, let's say this is the agenda. You can set a due date if someone needs to action a certain item, and once the meeting has taken place, it can be exported as minutes as well. Okay, and also a nice tool is that you can set your follow-up meeting on this platform, and we can now see that it automatically then populates an agenda for that upcoming meeting. And going back to your meeting log, you can see easily track upcoming meetings from there as well. Okay, so moving over to our field management module. Just in terms of checklists, we all know that when it comes to quality, nothing can impact the end results than how well your checklists and punch lists are done. Now, within the field management module, you've got the option to create checklists for things like quality, safety, commissioning, or punch lists. Now, you can either use templates that has already been set up for this, or you can build a checklist from scratch. You can also search, sort, and track checklist completion from here. Okay, and then field workers can also easily complete a checklist out in the field via their mobile app. So this is once again very useful. Okay, and then you also have the ability to create daily logs or site diaries within this field management module. Now, information such as the weather are automatically populated into logs, and labor tracking is also easily populated. This can be done either on your web browser or on site, once again with your mobile device. Now, with companies already loaded into BIM 360, adding details of who was on site, what they did, and any important notes can be quickly done with this. Also, like with all activity in BIM 360, daily logs are archived and available to view for any day of the project at the click of a date on the calendar. And then, like mentioned earlier, issues can also be created during the construction phase of a project. Now, this is also accessed within the field management module. And within this tab, you can see some existing issues that was added. You can maybe see all the details of it. Here we can see this issue has already been answered. And you can also see some open issues. You can also see attachments or photos that was added to it, and also then you can add some new issues if you want. Obviously then you need to specify the various details for it. You can set a certain person to review it or to address it. And what's also a nice functionality is that if you want to actually communicate the specific location of that on a drawing, you can navigate to that certain drawing within your folders, and like with BIM 360 docs, like Nuran explained, just drop your pin on that specific point and it will get communicated with the notification that's sent to the specific person that needs to address it. Okay, and so you can also add a certain description if you want. Okay, so once the issue has been created, it will display in your issue log, and then you can also see the root cause for it if that has been set as an attribute. Okay, so I just want to click to go to my next slide. Now, a recent update to BIM 360 Build is that BIM 360 project admins and also RFI managers can now create a new RFI from an issue, or even link existing RFIs to issues. So within the details of an issue record, there is a new linked references section. So once you're there, you can then select add reference to create a new RFI or link existing RFIs to the record. This functionality connects RFIs to any issues across the BIM 360 platform. For example, if an issue was created during coordination and it needs to be elevated to an RFI, if you have the correct permission, you will see the option to create an RFI right from the issue record within BIM 360 Coordinate. Okay, so as we are now nearing the end of our presentation, let's just look at one last feature within the Insight module of BIM 360 Build. Now, we all know that working on a construction project can involve hundreds of subcontractors, thousands of issues, and also a daily changing environment. Now, what Insight does is it acts as an ecosystem and it delivers a unified project level data, analytics, and predictive insights. It can also help you to get up to speed with what's going on in a project, identify any gaps and problems, and also use predictive risk data to improve your project efficiency. Okay, once again, there are also various tabs such as risk, design, project controls, etc. Now, if we look in the reports tab, this can be used to get a quick overview of the reports, which was exported in the various BIM 360 modules. Just some report types are, for instance, document management, field management, and project management. Okay, so with this, you can gain insight into data related to issues, checklists, documents, submittals, and also RFIs. Okay, then just to end off with some tips for other professionals working on a project as well. There's a saying that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Now, as BIM 360 is really a great tool, all of the stakeholders on a project has to work together and do their part to ensure a smooth operation of the platform and also execution of the project. Now, looking at some tips, one is that account admins and project admins need to ensure that they do proper document control. And this is, for instance, can be done by setting the correct folder and file permissions. So a contractor, for instance, will need permission to view or download and upload files, whereas you will only want your subcontractors to be able to view certain files that pertains to them and not necessarily be able to download or edit any files. Okay, then reviewers, for example, your architects and engineers who were assigned as part of an approval process of RFIs or submittals, they need to review these when they are notified and also provide an official response by the due date in order to ensure that the required information is then communicated back to site as soon as possible. Also, in terms of templates for checklists, checklist needs to be comprehensive, but also at the same time kept uncomplicated, so that people needing to complete it can do it easily, and also especially when assignees on site needs to do that. So you can, for example, add items or fields to drop-down menus instead of having your user having to type it out. And this saves time on site and also ensure that you get the correct responses. Then also issues created from site needs to be reviewed and addressed as soon as possible. This is once again to delay any to avoid any delays on site and any potential claims for it. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this webinar, and yeah, we would now like to give an opportunity for any questions, should there be any. If you guys want, you can just pop it into the chat or the question box, and yeah, we can answer it accordingly.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I've taken the liberty to put myself off mute to answer one of the questions. Nuran and Nadine, thank you very much for taking us through all of that. I see that there is a question: can the daily logs be started and then continued later if the application is closed or exit? For example, a foreman might take some notes throughout the day as and when it occurs. So for the daily logs, BIM 360 has actually improved this functionality where you can do more than one daily log for the day. So a foreman might capture what is going on in the morning, and then after lunchtime, capture the status of what is going on site during that time.
Okay, thanks for that, Johnny. Which is just going to give it some more time if there's any other questions.
Great. I have another question. When would you suggest one uses the approval workflows, or when would you suggest to use the submittals?
Okay, so typically, if you think about the approval workflow, like Nuran discussed, this occurs during the pre-construction phase, and this is when consultants need to coordinate on documents or designs, and then that is when you submit that for an approval workflow and process. Now with submittals, you can see it as approvals that needs to be done when subcontractors submits documents or drawings for approval. So for instance, you have a window or a door schedule that needs to be approved. They do a submittal for it. It then goes through an approval process. So basically, just to distinguish, your approval workflow will happen more pre-construction and then submittals during construction.
Thank you, Anine.
Okay, so I see that there aren't any other questions. So I would like to invite you guys, if you think of something after the session, you are more than welcome to just get in contact with any of us. I would then just like to end us off for today. Yeah, this is our contact details, and you're welcome to connect with us should you want. And also then, I want to remind you of our Baker Bain support desk should you have any queries or need information or need help with something. This is our office hours from Mondays to Fridays, and also our contact details. Then also be sure to go and check out our online platforms and also our social media. This is where we share all our latest news on updates, events, etc. Okay, so then I would just like to thank you all once again for joining us, and I hope that we will see you for our next webinar, and I wish you all a wonderful weekend.